All right, the last question comes from Patrick Ellers. I hope I didn't get your last name wrong. So your conversation about 2D versus 3D Zelda games got me thinking about Skyward Sword and its legacy in the franchise. It came out less than 3 years ago and was reviewed incredibly well. 10 out of 10, Rich George, IGN. I did not. That's a parenthetical here, just so you guys know. I did not just toss that in. But since that time, it seems like everyone holds the title in very low regard. So what happened? Is the problem that Skyward Sword didn't explicitly tap into nostalgia as Ocarina 3D, Wind Waker HD, and A Link Between Worlds did? Or was it just a little too late to the Wii U? Yeah. So first of all, I think it's neither issue. I think that some of the beefs folks had with Skyward Sword, or at least the beef I have with Skyward Sword, is that its storytelling was amazing, and I think its graphics and approach were really good. But it became probably the most linear Zelda I've ever played. It felt like something that, as much as the environment was open, it didn't really feel open to me. It felt like I was very limited in what I could find and could do, even though there were cool sounding ideas like, hey, before the dungeon, there's a dungeon, and that you have to like explore this area outside the dungeon and find certain pieces just to let you in. Yeah. I think there was some merit to that idea, but then it became, hey, take out your sword and douse because you're never going to find these things organically. Yep. And that completely, do that for long enough, and it just completely took a lot away from it.
Dowsing was bad. I think that if you're inherently your control style is completely split, where some people are like, I want every Zelda game like that to be like that forever, and there are people like me who are like, I never want to do that again. Yep. Like I thought flicking the wrist for Twilight Sword or whatever, that was fine, or Twilight Princess, Twilight Sword, just wasting minutes. The whole 4 minutes is gone. But actually doing these slashes and then having bosses based on which angle you were coming from was a huge pain for me for a lot of reasons. One, it didn't know his line up the right way. Two, there was a very long game, and if you put the controller down for 10 seconds to like sit and think, get a phone call or something like that, you had to recalibrate, you had to flip it over. Like there was a lot of issues there, and I just didn't. The
technology was a little creaky. I totally agree with you, and it was about like short, like very brief movements versus like swinging your arm. That did not track as well.
I thought the art style was very ambitious for something that couldn't actually deliver it.
But I just want to address too, it's not that it was too late on Wii, because Wii at that point had a huge install base. It wasn't like those people weren't going to go out and buy that game. I don't think it came too late.
I personally think it came too late for me. My excitement for it was over. Like, I did not beat that game, and I was just kind of over it. I was just over being
How far
hyped for
did
that
you
one.
get?
Not far.
Okay.
I really didn't get
because I played 40 hours and stopped, which has never happened to me with a video game ever before besides that, let alone any Zelda game, which I finish every one of them. Yeah.
It's something about it, like, the hype killed it for me, where it, like, the Wii, it's like, oh my god, motion control Zelda. From day one, everyone's hyped about that, and then you get it, and I was like, I don't remember what else was going on then, but I cared more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think literally all three of you hit it right on the head. Like, I agree with Jose that the core design of the game just left a lot. You know, a lot of it was lacking and left a lot wanted.
Meanwhile, the temples were amazing, by the way.
The temples were great, but
the dungeons
sort of,
were amazing.
The BS you had to do to get there, and there's those moments where the game treats you like a child, and like you said, we always talk about that moment where you have it in the hand, it just smashes, and then it goes everywhere in the world, and it's like, Jesus, I have to do this again. Yeah. Combat, same way. Like I feel like Wind Waker's combat is what I want from a Zelda game.
Yep.
So you didn't motion control didn't work for you? Because it worked for me fine. I was down.
Sure. I mean, it worked. It's not like it was broken to me.
I was a Hyrule warrior.
There were times where I pulled it off where I was like, damn, that feels good. But for the most part, I was like, which angle gets this guy on the diagonal slice?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I will say one of the coolest parts was when you pull the Master Sword out of this. I mean, come on, what other game could you do that? And it feel that cool?
Yeah, I liked gimmicky stuff like in Corruption, where like in order to open a door, you like move your hand forward and twist it and then pull back.
That's right.
That was cute.
For Metroid, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. So did we end early on this one? We got 20 seconds.
Yeah. So Naughty Dog.
Zelda.
All right.
Naughty Dog Zelda. That's
what
I want.
But I do think that maybe some of the hate Skyward Sword gets is a little heavier than it should be, and I think that even in a franchise like Zelda, Skyward Sword is even better than a lot of games that are out.
Oh, undeniably.
Yeah. So I wouldn't take too many of those criticisms too hardly. It's not
That's
like
the biggest problem with Nintendo, always. It's like, oh, man, like earlier I was talking shit about Yoshi. It's still way better than a lot of other games.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
All right. Well, we're out of time, both on the question and on the podcast. So, of course, at IGN, we know you love podcasts, but if you want to keep supporting what we do, please make sure you check out IGN.com, check out features, videos. We have pretty much a bunch of stuff. The new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer, which had a bunch of polarizing reactions this morning and whatnot.
We were kooky about that.
Yeah. And games. Games
Video
is what
games.
you like,
Lots of
right?
games,
Lots of games. All right,
Game
cool.
tips.
So you can find Marty Sleeve on Twitter at.
Mick Biggity, 2 G's, 2 T's.
You can find Tim Geddes at.
At Tim Geddes.
And you can find Brian Altano
At Agent Bizzle.
And you can find me at Jose_Otero on Twitter. Thank you very much for listening, and we will be back next week.